So the good news. So remember Dama Hemlin?
Yes.
The cardiac arrest.
Yes.
Oh, Tega, God, that's what you've now called him, the cardiac arrest guy.
Oh my days. The cardiac survivor. Well, let's just call it the survivor.
The guy that had a cardiac arrest on the field and then had to be resuscitated and all of that. He's been cleared to play. So he's back playing. Remember I told you that thing was such a freak accident that could have cost him his life. A young boy that was playing, it had to be that moment. But he's back now. The doctors have cleared him, so he's in training camp, and then he'll be able to play in the season. Of course, I'm sure they're going to monitor his minutes, and I'm sure that when he's on the field, other players will be looking at him like, I don't want to hit him, But let's see how it turns out. The good news is that he's back and he's playing football, which is what he always wanted to do. So that's good news on one part. On the other part, Chelsea fans, how are you doing this morning? I don't want to ask. See the way Zibby is looking at me. This is why you lost. You have to be polite. If you're not polite, you cannot win. All right, we'll be talking about your politeness and everything else in the locker room. But first of all, Zibby, tell us, how can we be a part of the show?
All right, the WhatsApp number is 0809 440 981. You can also tweet at Smooth981. Don't forget the hashtag, it's lockerroom981. And we're streaming live on YouTube as well. Well, hello, YouTube. Yes, so let's get into the stories.
All right.
Phoenix Suns versus Los Angeles Clippers Game 2 playoff even series. Top ultra runner Wazia Zakrzewski, that's not an easy name to pronounce, disqualified for using a car in race. Frank Lampard, I can't wait. Frank Lampard says he won't let players off the hook after European exit. Guardiola warns of Bayern belief in miracle comeback. Giroud seals Milan's passage past Napoli into semis. Casemiro returns as Manchester United face Sevilla. Benfica out to prove they belong in the UCL, and that is according to Schmidt. And Argentine court confirms eighth to face trial over Maradona death.
Yeah, it's like what happened with Michael Jackson. Everybody said, we can't only blame the doctor. Well,
no, we have to blame the professionals.
And if you're a legend, if you're treating a legend, there's the same glory as there is the same responsibility.
Absolutely.
If we're anybody else, just be like, didn't he have a history with drugs and alcohol?
Oh, not in all cases, though.
They'll be like, that's all right. But legends, you don't get away. Never, ever. Ever, ever, ever. All right, so let's start with the first story. The NBA playoffs taking place. You can see from my eyes. Zibby, take us through it.
So the Phoenix Suns defeated the LA Clippers at home 123-109 in Game 2 on Tuesday. Now Phoenix victory evens their first round playoff series 1-1.
Yes, so huge one. This is what you always have expected from the Clippers and the Suns. It's Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Chris Paul on one hand, and unfortunately for the Clippers, no Paul George, but Kawhi Leonard is enough to take out everybody else. And he did play a great game, just the same way he played a great game one. And Russell Westbrook did not have a great game one, but they won that one. But game two, Suns brought it, and that's where the difference was. It was like, at first they were both, trading leads. Then Devin Booker was just like, you know what? If these people go 2-0 up and we go to LA, we are done. And it was I think it was that third quarter moment that Devin Booker woke up and he took over the game. It was unreal. Everybody just kept giving him the ball like, Devin, I see you're crazy. So just take the ball and do what you want to do. 18 of his 38 points came in the third quarter.
Wow.
He was done with everybody. It was just like, you know what, I'm going to show these people who I am, and that's where all the drama really started, that third quarter. And then they got into the fourth quarter with a 6-0 run, and they took it on from there. So despite the fact that Clippers didn't play too poorly defensively, especially in transition defense, they could have done a whole lot better, but I think it was the Suns stepping up to it. Now, some people say, oh, Kevin Durant was disgraced several times. He had a block from Russell Westbrook. No, 2 blocks from Russell Westbrook. He had steals with Kawhi Leonard, who was defending him some of the time. But you have to understand that Kevin Durant has been out for a while, so he's still warming his way back into his full Kevin Durant mode. So when he gets into his KD mode, that's when we see him. The good news is that he could into his KD mode in the next round, which is when they'll need him and all the way to the end of the playoffs. But a great game for the Suns. They've evened this out to a 1-all series. We can't say the same thing for Golden State Warriors though. It was a very close game in the first one. They lost by 3 points. The second game, they were out rebounded, outplayed, everything about Golden State Warriors. You think that it was Sacramento Kings that were defending champions and Golden State Warriors were the ones that have come back in the playoffs for the first time in many years. That's how well good Sacramento Kings were. Now, I understand people, if you've been watching the NBA season, this series this season, you will know Golden State Warriors had a very horrible road record in the regular season. I think they were 9-30, so only 9 wins and 30 losses on the road. But this is playoffs, and you expect the people with pedigree to show up, just like Milan showed up against Napoli yesterday. Well, we'll get back to that story eventually. You expect them to show up, but somehow Golden State Warriors haven't shown up on the road, especially in game two. It was a horror show. They gave away too many turnovers. Like I said, they outrunning offensively and defensively. What made it even worse is one of their most experienced players, in Draymond Green, got ejected because somebody grabbed his leg, then he stomped on the person. You know how it is. So eventually it snowballed from there. He was thrown out of the game. So it just a horrible one. But yeah, Sacramento Kings have a 2-0 lead in that series, and I think that they can sneak one game in Oakland, and that's where it's shaky for the Golden State Warriors. Philadelphia 76ers are leading Brooklyn Nets by two games in that series. That's expected. The Cavs series is tied against the Knicks, so that one also expected. Everything seems to be going according to plan, apart from Golden State Warriors. Tonight, we see what the Lakers can do in their own game too. But that's the playoffs, and I know some people are waiting for this first knockout round to finish before they start following it. So I will be your source.
All right, Russia's Andrei Rublev fought back against Denmark's Holger Rune to win his first Masters 1000 title in Monte Carlo on Sunday.
Uh-oh. Is that?
And yes, so Josia Zakrzewski. Again, it's such a difficult name to pronounce.
Is it way the fact that you can pronounce it? Is it? And you did it the first time.
Oh wow!
Okay.
It just feels like a bunch of letters put together to form a name.
Yeah. And they say they can't pronounce African names. But read her story.
All right, so he finished third in the 2023 GB Ultras Manchester to Liverpool 50-mile race, but is thought to have, very interestingly, travelled by car for 2.5 miles.
All right, so this one, I don't even know what to call this. There's stealing and there's armed robbery. Wow. This one has to be armed robbery. Because this girl, it's a marathon, oh. Like, I don't know how it's saying. They are running with their 2 legs. It's not that they're using bicycle. It's not nothing. They are running with their 2 legs. They now found out that this woman that came third, that she covered like a 25-mile in 1 minute and 40 something seconds. They're like, what happened? How did she do that in the middle of the race? Only for them to check her GP tracker. She took a car.
Wow.
So here is what upset me about this story. Her friend that comes up to say, she was feeling sick halfway during the race and she took the car. Then why didn't she drop out?
Why did she just go home in the car?
Why did she take the car, drop out somewhere, and then complete the race to collect third position?
Wow.
So anyway, they've after they found out, they've disqualified her. But that is not the end of the situation, because what she did was it's something about behaving in unsportsmanlike behavior and gaining undue advantage, which is the same language they use for doping.
Wow.
So they have escalated the case, to the UK board. Those are the people that handle licenses in the first place. So her license may be suspended, or some further punishment is coming down the line. But this was cheating of a different level. Like, she got in a car. There's no, like, if she even cut corners and where you say, okay, she got in a car. How do you?
There's exactly an episode of The Fresh Prince where this played out. So Jeffrey, the butler, he ran away from the UK because he cheated. He got in a cab in one of these marathon contests and he had to flee.
It is so ridiculous. How do you get in a car as a professional athlete? All right, so
Wow.
her license, but we see how this eventually pans out. She still came third though, with all this cheating. It's still that she came. But if you take, they've taken even that from her. So let's see whether they will suspend her license or give. But there's going to be further punishment for her.
Wow.
Definitely.
This is embarrassing. All right, so Chelsea interim boss Frank Lampard says he won't let anyone off the hook after Real Madrid knocks them out of the Champions League to inflict another big blow in their flagging season.
I don't know. Even Frank Lampard's mother did not believe that Chelsea would come back. And I'm sure she has some assets in her name. So if anybody else believed that Chelsea was going to pull a comeback, the person must have been dreaming. But yeah, it was always going to be a question of how this was going to take place. Of course, Real Madrid, as much as they have a good pedigree in this, I'm just using the word pedigree these days. It has not, as much as they have a good reputation in the Champions League, especially in recent time. They still went to Stamford Bridge with some I don't want to say caution, or I don't want to say that they were with respectful. I'll just say that they went there with some, with a bit of conservativeness. They're the away side. They didn't just go gung ho into the match. They still bided their time. Chelsea was with the ball. They were dominating possession. N'Golo Kante had this very early chance, and it looked like, yes, Chelsea were ready to get down to it. Unfortunately, it's not the first person to call police that
Right.
is innocent at the end of the day. Because Chelsea had dominated possession, but every time Real Madrid got the ball, they looked very dangerous in possession. So it just made for it just showed a bit how the game was going to go. Of course, the Real Madrid got the 2 goals that they needed at the end of the night. It ended 4-0 in aggregate to Real Madrid. Like I said, this was expected. Real Madrid was going to knock Chelsea out. What's unexpected to me is that Frank Lampard is coming to tell the press that he's not going to let any Chelsea player off the hook. Oga, you are the only person on the hook. They're already interviewing somebody for your job. Yeah, you're saying you're not letting go off the hook. Who are you? You're not even a tenant. You're a squatter. And you're threatening the landlord that you will not let any of them off the hook. It's really ridiculous. But I'll say this to the Chelsea board. Maybe this is the kind of presentation he made. He gave firm talks. I was a player before. I have won medals. I've won championships. I know how the mentality is. Maybe this is the speech he gave to everybody, because in reality, I don't know how sacking Graham Potter and hiring Frank Lampard is moving forward. It's not even moving sideways. It's
sinking.
It's digging deep into the ground and just covering your head with the sand, because there was no way, there was nothing. There's nothing about Frank Lampard's managerial record, that said he was going to be the guy, to move this Chelsea side into a win. So since he came in as interim manager, he's managed 4 matches. They've lost all 4 matches.
Wow.
I don't know how else to say that. And I don't know which other language that would express to Todd Bowley and the board, but this was a horrible decision. In fact, they might as well have given Graham Potter, left him in position and given him some more money, because that's what this is tantamount to that. So tough one for Chelsea fans, a tough ride, but he's going to be there till the end of the season. Whether there are going to be any changes, I don't know. The only thing I can say about the Chelsea players is they're still playing with enthusiasm, as if they've not been losing. It's just
Tega, I think you're getting personal now. Are you doing this to get a rise out of you?
I'm just saying, but haven't you seen them? They're so excited, running at the ball. They're playing like they're about to do something, and
right.
You know that they're not. You know how maybe your nephew and nieces are playing with pots and pans.
Oh wow!
And it'll be silly of you to be expecting a real meal.
Oh
because
wow!
There's nothing coming out of it. That's exactly how the Chelsea players.
Tega, we're going on a break. We are going on a break. And by the way, if you don't hear Tega's voice when we return, I might have, We're taking a quick break. Stay with us. This is The Locker Room. Tega! What kind of dragging is this early morning? Hey, come on!
One of my nephews had this bad habit of supporting the other side. So you just be in the house, just be like, Max Verstappen. I'm like, what? Oh, Chelsea, what is going on?
He's an other side cider.
And the, and the way
Let me drink some water.
the way he celebrates. So I was very happy when they lost yesterday.
Oh my god.
Oh God. Okay, we'll come when we come back. We will then when we come back, we'll start come back with the messages first.
Okay.
Because I think I'm going to open the phone lines for the Manchester United match tomorrow.
Because if it was any other game, I wouldn't have called out the number.
There's no need to open for Chelsea. Everybody knows. Why are you wasting your time? They'll still lose over the weekend. You can open the phone lines.
Tega. Damn. Tega.
Good morning, Chelsea fans. It's not like that. It's not personal.
Why? Why?
I actually wanted to start the show with last, you know.
Oh my goodness.
So I was like, but it casted sins. So I should have.
But you know what?
It's true.
You're not lying, my dear.
Yeah. It casted sins. No, so no need to play that song now.
It's over.
It's over. Yeah.
Like I'm sure you're those annoying kids when you guys play a game and you win. The other children in that house must cry.
And maybe win only one, so.
Exactly, I know your one win. Nobody will hear word.
Arsenal fans, this is a preview. So what will happen if you don't win the league? Better just tune up locker room that day.
Yes.
People should pray that you win the league.
I hope they do.
Because I will really start the show with the song. In fact, I will do karaoke that morning.
Yeah, you have so many Arsenal listeners for some reason.
But we'll get there. But okay, so we'll come up and start with this and then we'll put it on.
Okay. Yes, we are.
Okay.
It's Ofu Obekpa. It's the breakfast show on Smooth 98.1. The best combination of radio and coffee.
You're in the locker room on Smooth 98.1. It's Tega and Zibby.
Yep, somehow I survived the interlude.
She did. It's a miracle.
It's a miracle.
Do we want
All
to
right,
read some
let's
messages?
take some messages here.
Okay.
You know, because it's therapy time. Okay, Zibby, the thing is not working for me. Is it
Okay.
Chelsea? Is it Chelsea mouse?
Oh wow. Oh wow. All right, this is Daniel. Daniel says Chelsea collected doctor's prescription 2 home, 2 away, and require bed rest from all European competitions next season.
All right, let's see what Tayo has to say. Tayo says, Osimhen and Quara with their mastery of the elements channel their inner avatar. When Napoli needed them the most, they vanished. Once again, Frank Lampard has proved to us that he didn't finish this coaching with that bricklayer formation. He still collected 2 goals as sent forth. Lampard's next coaching job should be assistant to the manager, not even assistant manager. So PA to the manager.
Wow.
All right, Cruz says, Zibby, it is what it is. Accept it. Chelsea is just training till the end of the season. Wow. And Ola says,
good morning, ladies. Tega, this worry ad you put into sport is amazing. Don't be the first person we call police be innocent. Okay. The pay for me is Napoli. I hope Man City go through to keep them busy and away from the EPL. Tega, don't you think this hiring and firing of managers in EPL when they know the coach cannot perform is a way of cooking the books? Just thinking.
That's another angle. Temi from Ibadan says Chelsea has scored just 1 goal in 7 matches. Even teams in Division 4 do better. Oh, my darling Chelsea. I had to read it in that way. And Emeka Anelo says,
the way Chelsea's losing, it's like we'll need to add an extra L to the spelling of Chelsea. According to Peter Drury, the only final Chelsea will experience this season is the final whistle.
oh God.
He also said the only serious person at the club right now is their bus driver who takes them to the pitch on time. Laughing at Chelsea isn't fun anymore. Tega, I shall be... Okay, I can't.
Laughing at Chelsea will forever be fun to me. In fact, laughing at anybody. So just make sure your team wins. All right, let's take the next story.
Manchester City coach Pep Guardiola insisted on Tuesday that opponent Bayern Munich believe they can pull off a miracle and overturn a 3-goal deficit against his side to reach the Champions League semi-finals on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, so it is that time for Thomas Tuchel and Bayern Munich with his worrying side. You know, people that are throwing punches in the locker room, you don't want to imagine what they will do to the opponents on the pitch.
Wow.
But yeah, he's going to try to pull off a miracle in Germany. Now, I like the way Pep Guardiola says this thing right before he's about to knock you out of the Champions League. I don't even want to call it psychological warfare anymore. I just think he's just taking you on a cruise because 3-0. I don't know that Bayern Munich can score three unanswered goal. So the question is not can they score goals. The question is can they score three unanswered goals, and that will be hard. Um, First of all, you have to remember Erling Haaland. He's familiar with this terrain. This is where he started his training with Dortmund before he now came to Manchester City for the big money. So he's going to be ready for that action. Kevin De Bruyne is there to deliver his usual crosses. Manchester City have a plethora of players all over the pitch that are ready to put their bodies on the line just to get the result that they need. You know that this Champions League is their own pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. They're chasing it hard. So they're going to come with intensity, urgency. Of course, Pep Guardiola himself is not going to let them slip up. So the only thing that, like Thomas Tuchel said, that will get Bayern Munich this win is a miracle of epic proportions or some shady refereeing. Like, I don't care what people say about Barcelona PSG. There were some shady calls in that match that made Barcelona to be able to overturn that result. Bayern Munich will need some of those shady calls today. That's all I'm saying, in order for them to defeat Manchester City. But should they pull a comeback like Liverpool did in 2005, we'd be here to witness it. We'd be here to cheer it. However, I do not think that that's possible. So this looks like Manchester City is already through. But let's see what Bayern Munich can do to at least delay their move to the next round.
Okay. AC Milan have reached the semi-finals of the Champions League after Olivier Giroud struck the crucial goal in a 1-1 draw at Napoli, and that completed a 2-1 aggregate victory over their fellow Italians.
And you also have to remember that Napoli missed a penalty. So had they scored that, we'll be talking about a completely different game. Could have gone to extra time, and who knows, because of the way that Napoli were pressing, they had the momentum, they were creating those chances in the last minute, and AC Milan was just hanging on for their lives. It could have been a completely different story, but they didn't take advantage of the penalty. They missed that penalty. Osimhen eventually got away from the central defenders that had held him down for most of the match and got the goal. Unfortunately, was just not enough. So sad one for Napoli. Great one for AC Milan. This used to be an AC Milan tournament. We used to call people that had reputation in Champions League. AC Milan was one of the names. But they had a number of bad years, and they're very glad to be here. So congratulations to AC Milan. They made it through to the next round. Another team might be joining them today. Another Italian team might be joining them today, Inter Milan. They already have a 2-goal advantage against Benfica. So it looks like the Italian Serie A is not really dead like we thought it was. there's still some life in them. But yeah, sad one for Victor Osimhen. Great season he had, and despite the fact that Napoli lost, he still scored a goal. Unfortunately, he couldn't add to the Scudetto that is definitely going their way. So.
Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag has 4 key absences to deal with on Thursday night as the Reds return to Europa League action versus Sevilla.
That's the one that is tough. Okay, so this one, you see the reason why I'm not going to analyze this one, because I don't even know where to start and where to finish. So the first leg ended in 2-2 in a 2-2 draw. But what was damaging was, number one, the 2 goals that Sevilla got were own goals. So Manchester United scored for and against themselves. Yes, the 2 goals that Sevilla had were own goals.
What?
And then the second thing was that they're missing key players through injury and suspension. So Bruno Fernandes suspended, Rashford injured, Martinez injured. He just had his surgery done for his broken metatarsal, so we don't know when he'll be back. And a question of Varane. So we're still going to see Maguire. Yes, Maguire is going to aspire to Maguire. All right. and now, despite the form of Sevilla, Sevilla has struggled all season in the La Liga, but Europa is their top competition. It's as if they have the solution to winning Europa. This is their tournament. So they have a 2-2 draw now, and they host Manchester United with all these key injuries that Manchester United have. The question is, do you think Manchester United can defeat Sevilla to make it through to the next round? The numbers to call are
0144899981.
So remember, Rashford missing, Bruno Fernandes missing, Martinez missing, Varane missing because I said a few more games is out. Luke Shaw also missing. Look, if we count how many players for Manchester United are missing, it begins to sound like a spiritual problem. But the question is, can Manchester United, despite Sevilla's reputation in this competition, despite all these injuries, can Manchester United make it through to the next round? And we take your call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Yeah, your name and your location, please. All right. So, what do you think? Can Manchester United make it through?
Yeah, we can. We can. We'll pull through. The 11 injuries to the squad, but we'll pull through. I mean, we have Martial back. Elson can play that role, and there's some other players that can fit in. That match was just a freak match. two old goals scored in a funny manner. I believe Maguire and Lindelof can still hold down the fort, and with Dallo and Wan-Bissaka. So we're good. We're good. There's Fred, there's Casemiro. We'll win. We'll beat them.
All right. So he says Manchester United can still pull through, but what do you think? Numbers to call are
0144899981.
All right. So just let us know if Manchester United can defeat Sevilla. While we wait for that, let's take this phone call. Hello, good morning. Yes, your name and your location, please. All right. Do you think Manchester United can pull through?
Well, looking at the first leg, Sevilla haven't scored in the fixture. If not for the defensive errors from the United players, would have gone away with them to COVID. But going to Sevilla now, knowing what is at stake, I think the players will just buckle up and get the right result. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. He says Manchester United can still make it through. So we wait and see how that works out for Manchester United. But first of all, let's take the messages. Toyib.
All right, Tohib says VAR should check if Chelsea is a football club or a nightclub.
I think Tohib, I don't think that's right. That's not good for morning radio. But Tayo has come with Maguire and he says, in Maguire and Malacia we trust. We shall be back for the banter after the crash. Bayern should stop dreaming of unnecessary miracles. Focus on Sani and Mane Rift and your domestic league. Haaland with the long hair is coming to plant his flag there. I agree with you. I like that rhyme. This one is from Shego from Ikorodu. He says, no Rashi, 3 of our back 4, Bruno, and we have to see our defenders. Oh, well, I don't know how to read that, Shego. Sorry. So let me read this message from Cruz. Cruz says, Manchester United and Chelsea, a friend to drive them to some parts of the journey. Otherwise, Tega's playlist for the locker room is going to get longer. All right, let's take this phone call. Hello, good morning. You're right. Your name and your location, please. All right. What do you think? Manchester United, can they make it through?
They can, because the era of segment dominance Europa League ended with the exit of Emery.
Okay.
And this season was a story for them. So even though the score at away was a lot of people that came like what to. So if you ask me, if the right squad, the right balance, they should be able to make it to the next round. Thank you.
All right. So everybody's saying Manchester United will make it to the next round. I'm sure for a corridor I sent a message now. We have the special one, the great one, and now the love to be sacked one, Lampard. Shagun, put your phone down. And on that note, I think that's the final. Yeah, that's the final phone call. That's the final message we can take. Thank you so much for sending your messages and for your phone calls. For now, we'll leave the studio to Zibby. Zibby?
Yes, indeed. Don't
Hope
go
you feel
anywhere.
better. Don't drop the mic like your club.
Stay with us. There's a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast. Lagos Talk starts in just 15 minutes from 9 a.m.